Welcome to the Wired for Success podcast, your show for ambitious, mission-driven entrepreneurs who understand that there's more to entrepreneurship than finding the latest flash-in-the-pan strategies, who understand that in order to build your empire, you need a solid foundation. I wholeheartedly believe that entrepreneurship is the biggest self-development journey you can be on, and it's my mission to help you make that journey easier. In this show, I bring together the very best from science, self-development, and entrepreneurship to set you up for sustainable success. Hi, I'm Claudia Garbutt, the scientist and mindset coach behind this show, and you're listening to the Wired for Success podcast. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Wired for Success podcast. Today, I'm super excited to talk to life coach and podcast host Vikki Louise, who specializes in helping ambitious and overachievers manage their anxiety and procrastination. She has a no BS approach, blending neuroscience, evolutionary biology, life coaching tools, and tough love that teaches people to understand their brain, rewire their thinking, and feel empowered to get things done. And this sounds very close to my own approach, so I'm excited to hear more about it today. So welcome, Vikki, and thank you so much for taking the time to sharing your insights with us today.
Yes, thanks so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Now, I know that you graduated from London School of Economics and you worked in finance and tech for years before you finally moved into coaching full-time. So could you tell us a little bit more about your journey and why you changed career path?
Yeah, such a good question. Listen, the way I see it is as a young adult, you are like a baby adult. So when you're like 18, 19, 20, you are still making decisions based on what other people think, based on what your peers think, your parents think, your partners think, all of that good stuff. And I really was making decisions to work in finance based on what I thought was going to be successful career. And I loved maths. I still love maths. So I was making decisions based on the information that I had at that time. Sure. And I think your 20s are really a time where you like grow into being your own adult and you start to realize that you make decisions and you step into what you like. And you learn so much even by being in the workforce and all the people that you meet. And for me, like I did not know what a life coach was until my late 20s, so it would never have been something that I'd have thought about. And when I did always want to help people, and when I was in school I'd looked into it, and the only thing that my school had recommended was like psychiatry, and I didn't want to go be a doctor. So I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'll go do maths and economics because I like them. And then, you know, life falls. And I think it's really interesting. I think we should always be like taking pause in our life to look at our results and where we're working and our relationships and how we're eating and all of these different things, and think, is this decision that I want to make today, or is this a decision that I made 8 years ago that I'm continuing with today? And for me, I guess I reached that point where I just knew that I wanted to work with people and help people. And I'd started in like socially responsible investment and as an analyst, and I'd moved to the relationship side, then the sales side, and then I moved to New York for a bit, and I was always looking to get closer to the people. And I realized, like, oh, if I want to work with people, I don't need to do sales and finance. I can go and work with people. And when I came across life coaching, I was like, what is this amazingness? And it was very quick decisions from there, to be honest. It was, I'm gonna, resign in 3 months, and I have 3 months notice, and go all in on it.
That's so cool. And it takes a lot of courage to really follow your dreams. And maybe you know that about me, but I changed career path too. So I'm a molecular biologist by profession. So it was pretty much the same for me, the same journey of understanding that I wanted to do something different, wanting to work with people directly and not just being hidden away in a lab. So I totally understand where you're coming from. And I have to admit, for me, it wasn't an easy transition. I don't know about you, but even though I love what I do right now, it wasn't easy to get started doing something completely new. So what's your advice for someone out there who might be contemplating changing career path right now?
Right, exactly. So we're speaking to ambitious people here. So one of the hardest things is to go from being successful in something to actively choose to be bad at something, to actively choose to be an amateur, right? Like coming into this field of like, wait, I'm already successful. Like I was very successful on paper. Nothing was terrible. I didn't have to leave. And choosing that discomfort of, okay, I'm going to go try this thing. It might not work out. I don't even really know what it is to be a life coach, because I'm not one. The only way I'm going to figure it out is by doing it. And it's not like, oh, and then I became a life coach and I was a success overnight and everything was easy and fluid. But everything that's happened has made me grow into an even better coach and an even better person. And I see the results not just in my business, which, you know, it's a 6-figure business, but also in my relationships with my husband, with my relationships with my family, in my relationship with myself, my body, and my health. Like I really took responsibility for the results of my life. And for anyone listening, like that's the game changer. Like it's uncomfortable to go be an amateur, but go be an amateur and take responsibility versus being a professional in someone else's game. If that's what you want. Like a lot of people come to me for coaching and they're not necessarily looking to do their own things or looking to change something so drastically. So wherever you are now, this can still apply. Learning to be good at being an amateur is going to be what accelerates your growth the most.
Yeah, I totally agree. This becoming or getting comfortable being uncomfortable, as they say, because that's really what it's all about. Whenever you learn something new, it's going to be uncomfortable in the beginning, and you just have to get through this messy phase in the beginning before you can get to the good stuff, right?
Right. And then as you get to the good stuff, you'll also, like, I continue to go for the messy. Like it's like the journey. Like what you are capable of is only limited by your ability to sit with discomfort. If you are willing to always choose the path of, our brain's wired to choose the path of least resistance, right? And that's why we can stay stuck in situations in our life for longer and decisions take a long amount of time, but that's optional. Like we could also be in a state of making decisions for growth constantly, and then it's like even the discomfort is temporary, and we're constantly in a state of action, which I think, you know, like as ambitious people, like that's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about. Yeah. So whether it's changing career path or just taking on another challenge, fear and anxiety are emotions that most of us struggle with more than we like to admit. So what would you like everyone to understand about fear and anxiety?
Yes. If you are an ambitious person, you are going to have anxiety. Anxiety shows up to protect us. Like our brain's one job is to keep us alive, right? Fear and anxiety have an important role there. Our brain's job is not to make us happy all the time. I'm sorry, people. And part of that means like convincing us to play small, to stay inside the cave, to keep doing what we've always been doing, to conserve energy, to build like routine and familiarity, all of these things that go directly against being ambitious, right? Ambition, by definition, is like looking for more, seeking to step out of that comfort zone. So I would tell your listeners, knowing that they're ambitious, that they are going to experience anxiety. Like arguing with it is pointless. It's like arguing with, you know, the trees being green. It's like those two things go together. It's really right? I was thinking, but sometimes leaves get brown. We'll let it slide. I just looked out and saw a tree, that's why. So it's not the anxiety or the fear itself that are the problems. It's what we make them mean. It's how much we believe them. It's how we give our energy to arguing with them or resisting them or avoiding them versus like, oh, like what actually is anxiety? Like, we never think to ask that question. And a few years ago, when I was in my own space of like having panic attacks every day, I went to Google and I was like, what is anxiety? Because everything that I'd heard about it before that time was in very extreme cases. And I was experiencing panic attacks, but not to the point where I couldn't get out of bed and couldn't function. So I looked it up and it said, anxiety is a feeling of unease, overwhelm, and worry, or something like that. And I thought, what? That's useless. How do I know when I'm feeling anxious or worried? How do I know when I'm feeling anxious or overwhelmed? Like, this is not helpful at all. And a lot of the time we're saying, like, I have anxiety, but we don't really know what that means. So for anyone listening, I would really recommend spending time thinking, like, what does anxiety feel like for you? Where is it in your body? Do you feel hot? Do you feel a pounding of the chest? Do you feel tingles up and down your arms? Do you feel dizziness? Like, what is it? And once we really break down what anxiety or fear feel like, physically feel like, because they are feelings, then we're not arguing with them and we're not as afraid of them, and we can just allow them to be there.
Yeah, so true. I mean, this is, I've always been fascinated by this mind-body connection, and in today's society we often just look at them as separate things. So anxiety is just in your mind, and you don't look at what's going on in your body. But if you start looking at them as one thing, like one experience, and you look at what's going on in your mind and in your body at the same time, that is so powerful, right? So
Totally.
can you share, because sometimes we have this underlying anxiety or worry that's kind of constantly there, but then we have other times where we feel that we have like an acute panic attack or something. We can feel that we're starting to panic, things are spiraling out of control. What do you do to calm yourself down when you're experiencing this acute anxiety? Can you share your favorite tip?
Yeah, I love that question, because even as you said it, it's like there's the panic and then there's the feeling out of control. And those two things don't have to come together. And that's kind of the key. So really, like, our body can experience the physical panic, and we can still decide that we're in control. The more we think, oh my God, I'm out of control, I can't handle this, I need to stop this, and arguing with our physical body, like the hormones and what's already released, right? It's already happening, guys. The more we're arguing with it, the bigger it gets. So I'll tell you that a few years ago, I was going to speak on a public stage, and as I was walking, and I'm a coach, right? Like, this is maybe 2017. I'm a coach. I've got some tools in my bag. I've done all my mindset work, and as I'm walking, it's like a 30-second walk to the stage. And as I'm walking, my brain's like, what are you gonna do? What are you doing? You're gonna die. What are you doing? You're gonna die. Get off the stage. What are you doing? And I was like, what? And like, just as I'm like coming into the view of everyone, it's like sweat, bright red, like heat. I'm like, oh, great. Like, what? Like, this is like, it was like so much so that I didn't have time to like sit and like pour my head out and do my thought work and all of this amazing tools that I had, like, no time. And I'm walking and I'm like, what am I gonna do? And all that I did in that moment was say to myself, like, oh, like, your brain thinks you're gonna die. Like, it's literally trying to save your life. It's like, it's crazy powerful. The quickness. Like, I'm telling this story. Think about the fact that this story in itself is longer than the time that it took for me to like have that panic and calm it down again. So I realized my brain was on my side. It thought I was going to die. It was releasing the hormones to allow me to run faster, longer, and feel less pain and be more alert, and all these things that it thought was going to keep me alive. And instead of arguing with it, I started to think about how powerful my brain was. And I was like, oh my God, my brain is so powerful and it's on my side. Like, I've got nothing to worry about here. And as I leaned into it and allowed it to be there, all the physical sensations, it was like I suddenly felt charged with more confidence and more, like, I felt empowered to like a level that I can't explain. I describe it as like glittering. Like, I felt like there was glitter coming out every one of my pores. Like, I remember thinking, like, I feel like Beyonce or something. It was so empowering for my brain to be so in control and for me to be in sync with it. So if you're having a panic attack and you are somewhere public like that, that's really what I recommend. And if it's somewhere private, really doing that work of like, what actually does a panic attack look like for me, and getting curious and knowing exactly what's happening is going to be a game changer, so that you can get to a point where you feel the panic coming on, and instead of fighting with it or wishing it away, you know to say to yourself, I know exactly what's happening, I know exactly why it's happening, and I know it's not going to last because this has happened before. And those three things are like, if you're in private. So I have a client who feels very dizzy when she has panic attacks. So she knows now to go and sit down and put her head between her legs. Like, it's not a big deal. Go sit down, put your head between your legs. Like, we can feel in control. So she still feels in control, and then it doesn't last as long and it doesn't spiral. So those are the two things, depending on where you are.
Love your story. Yeah. It's so good. It's so good. Yeah, sometimes it's just this, accepting that your brain can create all these changes inside your body and being okay with that. Just don't fight it so much. Surrender, and it will all be good. So another thing that you specialize in is overcoming procrastination, right? So it's a widespread misconception that people who procrastinate are simply lazy or irresponsible people, which is just not true. So I want to share with our listeners what procrastination is really all about.
Yes, our brains are wired to be lazy. Like, of course they are. Our brains have been around in their most modern form for like 40,000 years. So a big part of our survival has been conserving our energy in the wild before we had apartment buildings, cars, food, like supermarkets, like let alone phones and apps and deliveries and all of that stuff. Our brains are highly efficient in keeping us alive, and they've built like routine and programming around that. So part of that is like choosing the path of least resistance by design. Part of that is like sitting on the sofa in your home, like conserving our energy in the cave by design. Like, our brains were built for a different time, and the more we judge ourselves because of it, the more we spin in it and get reaction. And like, for everyone listening, I would challenge you to think, has like judging or criticizing yourself ever led to you like doing more, getting more done? It's not. Like, it just doesn't. It leads to more spin, less focus on what you are actually going to be doing, and feeling terrible. So that's like the main thing that I will say, that I think I really am so passionate about being loud about, because I don't hear it everywhere. But our brains are designed to be lazy. It's not a surprise that Netflix is like a super successful company. Like, oh, I can sit on my sofa and be entertained and conserve all my energy. Like, our brains are wired for that, literally. So that's like the first thing I'll say.
Yeah, that's so true. And the other thing is that procrastination, as at least as I see it, is never really about, the laziness or conserving the energy alone, but it's also this being in the state of overwhelm, and just your brain is trying to, it's your brain's way of saying, I need a break here. I don't know what's going on. I don't know how to take the next step. So I just need to refocus and take it one step at a time. Maybe it's just too much going on right now, and I just need to break it down so that it's more manageable.
Yes, and on that note, there's like another big reason why we procrastinate, right? Which comes down to like avoiding failure and avoiding rejection.
Yeah.
Like, our brain is highly, again, wired to avoid failure and rejection, which for the longest time meant death. Like, if you failed and ate the wrong berries in the wild, you would die. If you were rejected from social tribes in the wild, you would die. So our brain is highly motivated to avoid failure and rejection. So if you have like, even like I call it sometimes, we have like productive procrastination, where clients will tell me like, I don't know, I was just like doing the laundry. I had this like work project to do, but then I thought about the laundry, and then I decided to make a really nice dinner. And I'm like, yeah, like all these things are very safe. Your brain feels very safe. You're not going to get exposed. You're not going to experience any failure or rejection. So we can find ourselves procrastinating because like, of all the reasons that we spoke about, but also you'll find yourself more likely to procrastinate on things where your brain thinks there is a danger of death.
Absolutely. Everything that's potentially difficult or dangerous, those are the things that we tend to procrastinate on, right? So from your experience, what are a couple of common mistakes you see people make when it comes to managing anxiety and procrastination?
Yeah, the main one really is the judgment of themselves. Like, that this shouldn't be happening, that I hate the anxiety, I hate the fact I procrastinate, I hate myself, I'm broken, something needs to be fixed, all of that kind of story, which is really unfortunately like compounded by our dialogue around those things in society, which is a shame, which is why I'm so vocal around this topic. So that's like really, like, I swear 50% of the work is to stop judging our brain for how it is and just allow it to be how it is. And then some of the other mistakes is thinking that we're going to get rid of that desire and expecting our brain to always want to play ball. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like the difference between, so like say someone wants to lose weight and they've been eating lots of chocolate. And they're like, I don't want to eat chocolate anymore. And they've made that decision. And then like 3 days later, their brain's like, chocolate, I want to eat chocolate. It's kind of like, of course your brain still wants to eat chocolate, right? Like you get to teach it that it can desire something and you can still say no. Your brain can desire to procrastinate on the project and you can still do the project. You can experience anxiety, and it depends, like there's like an anxiety scale, right? Depending on how intense it is, but you can experience anxiety and still get up on a stage and publicly speak. Trust me, I've done it. You can experience anxiety and still write your book. You can experience anxiety and still record the podcast. You can experience anxiety and still do most things. So when we give our attention to judging or trying to get rid of completely these human instincts, we're missing the point. It's actually we're able to do things, and we can just make different decisions on how we are going to do the things depending on the level of anxiety we have, for example. But I have one client, I remember, she said to me, like I said to her, you know, what have you been doing? She said, well, I was trying to get rid of my anxiety, so I like swept the floors of my whole house for like 2 hours. I was like, okay, and did you still have anxiety? She's like, yeah, except I had more anxiety because I'd not done the work that I meant to do. I was like, right. So it's like, you know, we give our energy to getting rid of the anxiety. We're never going to get rid of it 100%. It's part of how we've evolved. Yeah. And not only that, we're going to end up building more anxiety because we procrastinated on the work we were supposed to do by sweeping the floors. Like there's such a relationship between anxiety and procrastination. That's why I loop them together. Like the more anxious we feel, the more we procrastinate, the more procrastinate we feel, the more anxious we feel. So I would say those 2 things. 1, judging ourselves, and 2, focusing all of our energy and trying to get rid of something completely.
Love that. That's such a good tip. So before we go, can you share with our listeners where they can find you online and where they can learn more about you if they maybe want to learn about working with you or see what else you're up to?
Yeah. So I also have a podcast. You can search F UCK anxiety. That's a naughty word. F *CK anxiety, and get SH*T done. So some rude words there, but I get excited about this stuff in case you couldn't tell. And you can also find out more. You can connect with me on Instagram. Is probably good because I do lots of videos there. So that's at Vikki, VIKKILOUISE ____. So at Vikki Louise ____. And also you can go to VikkiLouise.com.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for this great interview, Vikki, and for your insights. It was a pleasure talking with you, and I hope you have a wonderful day today.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me. It's been so fun.
Thank you. Thank you so much for listening to the Wired for Success podcast. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, please take a sec to rate and review my show. It would mean the world to me because you'd help me reach more entrepreneurs like yourself who would love this show. If you'd like to learn more about creating a widely successful business without sacrificing your health, relationships, or sanity, make sure to stick around and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes. And why don't you help me spread the word and share this show with your friends? I'd really appreciate it, and I'm sure your friends will too. Want to continue this conversation, build real relationships, and join a community of like-minded entrepreneurs? Come join my free Facebook community for visionary entrepreneurs. I would love to see you there. In the meantime, if you haven't done so already, grab my free brain priming audio file for entrepreneurs and start priming your brain for success in less than 5 minutes each morning. Curious? You can learn more about how this works and download the audio file at www.wiredforsuccess.solutions. Until next time, bye!